You ask an ancient Israelite who is in charge. They say the Divine Council. You ask a modern UAP researcher. They say the Galactic Federation. It is the exact same archetype wearing a modern science fiction mask. When we look at the chaos of human history, the wars, the empires, the rise and fall of civilizations, we usually assume it's just us down here making a mess. Or, if you're religious, you assume God is micromanaging every single border, every king, and every battle from the sky. But the ancient world didn't believe either of those things. The ancient Israelites believed something far more terrifying. They believed that thousands of years ago, God looked at humanity and decided he was done with us. He handed the nations of the earth over to a cosmic boardroom, a council of divine beings. And then, those beings went rogue. Welcome back. In episode 5 and 6, we tracked the foot soldiers of the ancient world. The Nephilim, the Matriarchs, the Fae, and the Ghosts. But foot soldiers don't operate without orders. If the entities we call cryptids and aliens are the grunts on the ground, who's running the Empire? To find the answer, we have to look at the most overlooked, misunderstood event in the entire Bible, the Tower of Babel. If you grew up in Sunday school, you were taught that the Tower of Babel was just a story about God confusing human languages so people would stop building a tall building. But that's the sanitized children's version. Babel wasn't a language mix-up. It was a divorce. Humanity rebelled, and according to Deuteronomy chapter 32, God responded by disinheriting them. Listen to the exact text of Deuteronomy 32, verse 8, as it reads in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are the oldest biblical manuscripts we have. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he divided all mankind, he set up boundaries for the peoples according to the number of sons of God. The sons of God is the exact same biblical term used for the angels in the book of Enoch. God didn't just scatter humanity. He divided the earth into 70 nations, and he assigned a divine, non-human entity to govern each one. He delegated the planet to a divine council. Suddenly, the mythologies of the ancient world make perfect sense. Why did every ancient civilization suddenly claim they were being ruled by a pantheon of gods? Why did the Egyptians worship Ra? Why did the Greeks worship Zeus? Because those entities were real. They were the territorial spirits appointed to manage the 70 nations. But the boardroom went rogue. Instead of managing humanity with justice, these entities demanded to be worshipped. They demanded blood sacrifices. They pitted their human nations against each other in endless, violent proxy wars. And this brings us to Psalm 82, one of the most radical, explosive chapters in the entire Bible. God presides in the great assembly. He renders judgment among the gods. How long will you defend the unjust and show partiality to the wicked? I said, you are gods. You are all sons of the Most High, but you will die like mere mortals. You will fall like every other ruler. This isn't poetry. This is a cosmic indictment. The Creator steps into the boardroom, looks at the territorial spirits running the nations of the earth, and fires them. He sentences the gods of the ancient world to death. Now pause the ancient history for just a second. If you talk to most devout researchers in the modern UFO and UAP community, they will tell you that we are not alone. But they don't use the term divine council. They use the term Galactic Federation. They believe there is a cosmic boardroom, an alliance of highly advanced, non-human intelligences that oversee the development of lesser planets. And they believe this federation has designated Earth as a protected territory, one that isn't ready to join the larger cosmic community. You ask an ancient Israelite who is in charge. They say the Divine Council. You ask a modern UAP researcher. They say the Galactic Federation. It is the exact same archetype, wearing a modern science fiction mask.
Hold the phone! That human history is just a proxy war for intergalactic middle management? I don't even trust my local city council to fix the potholes on Main Street, and now you're telling me there is a Galactic Federation? A federation of rogue angels playing Risk with my zip code? Where is the HR department for the universe? Who do I call to complain about the management?
The truth is, the governments of the world might already be taking meetings with the board. We look at the Galactic Federation as New Age science fiction. But in December 2020, a man named Haim Eshed gave an interview that broke the internet. He wasn't a blogger. He wasn't a conspiracy theorist. He was a retired brigadier general in the Israeli military intelligence, and he served as the head of the Israeli Defense Ministry's Space Directorate for nearly 30 years. Eshed explicitly stated that the United States and Israel had been in contact with extraterrestrials, and he didn't just call them aliens. He specifically used the term, the Galactic Federation. He claimed that agreement was made between the United States government and the Federation to keep their existence a secret, because humanity wasn't ready to understand space and spaceships. Combine that with the declassified CIA remote viewing sessions from the 1980s, where intelligence officers reported seeing off-world hierarchies and ancient bases on Mars. And you have to ask a terrifying question. Was Haim Eshed losing his mind in his old age? Or was a 30-year veteran of a military intelligence utilizing a modern vocabulary to describe the exact same territorial spirits that Psalm 82 warned us about? When you read the recent declassified reports from the United States military UAP task force, the running theme isn't that we are being invaded. The theme is impunity. These objects enter our restricted airspace. They drop from 80,000 feet to sea level in seconds, and they hover over our nuclear silos. They don't attack. They simply operate as if our borders, our laws, and our military don't exist. They operate like they own the territory, just like the gods of the 70 nations. The Bible says these entities were given governance over the earth, but they became corrupt. They kept humanity divided, terrified, and at war with each other. The Apostle Paul wrote in the New Testament that our fight is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness. He wasn't speaking metaphorically. He was talking about the boardroom. The ancient world believed we were living in a quarantine zone, managed by rogue entities that are currently under a cosmic death sentence from the Creator. And if Psalm 82 is right, if the boardroom has been fired, then they know their time is running out. Which means the chaos we are seeing on Earth today isn't random. It's a regime refusing to give up power. In episode 8, we're going to look at the books written during the silence, the books between the Old and New Testaments. We're going to open the Apocrypha, and we're going to see what happened when humanity tried to fight back. This is the Missing Bible. If you're ready to dig into the books that the Protestants removed but the Catholics kept, hit the subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Do you think the Galactic Federation is just a modern name for the Divine Council? Thank you for watching. Stay open, stay wondering, stay human.
The General Assembly is ghost quiet, lightless and wide. Black screen fades on a history where the mess makers hide. We assume it's just human hands drawing borders in dirt, ignoring the council that handed the nations the hurt. Ancient stone shows a Mesopotamian king on a knee, bowing to wing silhouettes that we were never meant to see. Israelites whisper a boardroom when the creator resigned, leaving 70 parcels to a managed creator resigned. Israelites whispers to a management of a darker kind. They call it Deuteronomy, banishing of a darker kind. They call it Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 8. Dead Sea Scrolls proving that the sons of God decided our fate. fate. Babel wasn't language, it was a cosmic divorce on the hill. A disinheritance of the flesh against the Most High's will. Glowing maps track 70 points from the Mesopotamian plains, tracking the lineage of the spirits that are pulling the reins. Enter the boardroom, the silent one sitting in wait. The shadow cabinet, judging the balance and scale of the state. Psalm 82 screams that the courtroom is open at last, judging the gods of the mountain, the rogue administrators of the past. They were sentenced to fall like the mortals they failed to protect. A death sentence handed to every territorial sect. So look at the skies, look at the silence, look at the room. The regime is fusing to yield to the sentence of doom. Flip the script, turn the parchment to a flare on the lens. Now the boardroom is the federation where the mystery begins. No longer winged entities carved into ancient greystone. Now it's Tic Tac maneuvers in the airspace they claim as their own. Haim, Eshed, the general 30 years in the game, speaking Galactic Federation as if it's a mundane name. He says they made an agreement with the US in the dark, a cosmic agent department leaving a territorial mark. From the Stargate H apartment, leaving a territorial mark. From the Stargate document 80s to the silos on the ground, they show impunity, cross every border without a sound. They hover over nukes dropping from 80K in a flash, operating like they own the zip code, avoiding the crash. Ish losing his mind, or is he translating the Greek? The same rogue management that the psalmists were hired to speak. Gamesh on the screen, red tie loosened at the throat, pointing at the solar system from a 1970 note. He's frantic, asking where the HR department resides when the Galactic Federation is playing risk with the tides. He doesn't trust the city council with the potholes in the street, so why would he trust the intergalactic middle management elite? It's a proxy war in the heavens, a game that we didn't sign between the cosmic boardroom and the architect of the divine design. Paul said the fight is in flesh, it's the powers in the dark, rulers and authorities leaving a territorial mark. We're in a quarantine zone managed by those who are fired. The boardroom is under a sentence that's never been tired. They know their time is thin, so the chaos is part of the play. A regime refusing to yield as the light breaks the day. Stay open, stay wondering, stay human through the static. The history isn't random, it's just cosmic and erratic.